welcome back. And if you joined us late, my special guest is Dr. Desmond Smith and his son, Alex Smith. And they're both here. I think you're in the life-saving business.
We try to be.
And we're talking about how we can all do simple things, change the way we eat, change the way we live, and add health and years to our lives. That's the simplest way to sum it up, because most of us are not technical. But we do have problems with heart disease. And everybody, you hear it all the time.
Right.
And you had a couple of points you really wanted to make, Doctor.
Yes, I really want to make these points. There's a, without getting too technical, there was a study called the Courage Trial. And in that trial, it showed that you were no better off having stents placed in your heart versus receiving optimal medical care. That's important because a lot of people are still going to the hospital and having stents put in when stents really may be indicated in certain circumstances, but they have not been proven to save lives or to add anything more to you other than what you would receive from receiving optimal medical care. Now, also in saying that, what I'm also trying to say is that the only way that you can fix your heart that we know today is through a healthy diet and through proper exercise. And I want to make that clear. You have to involve yourself in your care, both in terms of changing bad habits if you have them, whether it be smoking or eating the wrong things, and you must add exercise to your daily routine. Now, Alex will tell you that exercise is good for 24 hours, no more than 48 hours. The benefits that you receive from exercise.
Alex?
Cardiovascular exercise has a lasting period of about 24 to 48 hours. What that means, after about a day or so, you start to see declines in the amount of the exercise you put in. So if you were to exercise Monday, by the time Wednesday, you're back to normal.
Oh, that's discouraging. Well, what about like swimming? Or just, you know, if somebody hasn't been in an exercise program, just joining a gym and going in there and start out with a walk. I mean, we're getting to, we'll have nice weather, so start out and walk a little bit. Start, right? Is that not what you would recommend to people?
I would recommend that, but I would also recommend getting tested before you start any kind of exercise.
All right.
Because you want to make sure you don't have any underlying problems beforehand and then end up having complications later on.
And Alex, this has nothing to do with age. I mean, if somebody's 30, they can still be at risk if they all of a sudden. So it isn't that somebody's old. This is a lifestyle. And if you are young and if you are healthy, now is the time to take up that banner and stay out of the, I'm, get in trouble, but stay out of the fast food places because the doctor laughed at me, but while we were chatting before we went on the air, I said, you pay for salt, fat, and cardboard.
That's right.
That's what you pay for.
That's right. Absolutely.
And so, once in a while, okay. But to make that a routine way to live and take your kids, it's not a very good thing to do.
Well, no, and you see, most people, they wake up in the morning, they have the sausage or egg or the bacon and cheese, and then at lunchtime they turn around, they have the hamburger and cheese and the French fries with the salt, which is, French fries is nothing more than fried sugar with salt. And then at nighttime they turn around and have a steak with potatoes, and that's how you develop your diabetes. That's how you develop your coronary artery disease. That's how you develop your hypertension.
Okay. And you did bring some charts, but you've got so much, we can have about 3 hours.
Oh, yes.
But this is so meaningful. And what about this healthcare, what is that? Healthcare Heroes, what is it?
Well, it's a program that's was thought up by the Greenville Business Magazine.
Yeah.
And what it does is it honors or highlights individuals in the healthcare field that have done exemplary acts. very kind things for other people. And so I was co-sponsor last year, and it was a wonderful event. We had people from both hospitals, Memorial, St. Francis, and even paramedics and others that had contributed to our community in a very nice way beyond their duty as workers. So we honored them, and it was a lot of fun. We had a great time with that.
So that's what Healthcare Heroes. So it's honoring people who have participated in healthcare situations.
That's right.
Yeah, and your book. We had some charts, and did we have a picture of the cover of your book? I think we do.
Yes,
we can show
we did.
people.
Right.
Yeah, there it is. What are we to do?
Yes.
And taking a pill, you have to get involved in your own situation.
That's right.
Now, is this book available in?
Yes, it is, and it's in my office. We've talked about all the various aspects of cardiovascular disease, and we also include a section on sudden death. We have a special interest in young athletes. We think it's a shame that they actually have to die because they're participating in sports, and not enough is done. Baseline EKG or a quick heart and lung examination is insufficient in terms of determining whether the young athlete is at risk for sudden death. The same issues that we talk about for the elderly patient are the same issues that we talk about for the younger athlete. If they have an increase or buildup in pressure in their heart, then they are at risk for sudden death. So it's something that when you say, well, can you just go for a nice easy walk? Yes, that's true.
I mean, as a beginning.
As a beginning. But really, the patients need to be evaluated to make sure that exercise is safe, first of all. And we believe in the minimum amount of exercise, not the maximum amount of exercise, because we want to keep your joints, we want to keep your heart healthy.
So you would advise before people make drastic changes that they go get a physical?
Absolutely. A physical, but a physical is inadequate. You need an echocardiogram to look at the heart and the pressures within the heart to make sure they're not excessive, because those are the patients that die suddenly.
Okay, now I have a question.
Sure.
What part does stress play in all of this? Because we live in a stressful world, and everybody is under some kind of stress. And people have lost jobs, they're worried about the economy. I mean, everybody is struggling in some way. How much does stress play into health?
Stress is a major part of health care. Stress is related to not only cardiovascular disease, it's related to marked elevations in high blood pressure. One of the things that we do that's now been recommended as a mandatory test in Europe and is coming to the United States is a 24-hour blood pressure monitor. We just don't give patients medication based on their blood pressure
when they walk in the
doctor's office.
It changes,
doesn't it? It changes, especially for elderly patients. Physiologically, their pressures are going to be high. So you need to know what their pressures are at home. The pressures at night are actually even more important than the pressures during the day. But what we've seen in a lot of patients is that they really don't have high blood pressure. What they have is blood pressures that are high when they're at work, blood pressures that are high when they come into the doctor's office.
Well, that's enough to scare you.
And then when they get to the doctor's office and they wear these monitors, you find that their blood pressures are very low. We had one person just recently where the blood pressure was very high for a while, and then at home, the highest blood pressure was like 80 or 90. We actually had to take them off of medication because I did a study that we published last year in patients with true white coat syndrome, meaning that their pressures are high when they come to the doctor. If you treat them, they actually have more problems with treatment, more problems with fainting, more cardiovascular problems than if you didn't treat them at all. But how do you know that if you don't do a 24-hour blood pressure monitor, which comes back to the issue of stress? Stress is a major problem in medicine. not only, again, from a cardiovascular standpoint, but also from cancer. Okay, stress can induce cancer. It can induce all kinds of symptoms, headaches, stomach problems. It's a major issue. It plays a major role.
Okay, now, here's the thing. We all have stress. We don't choose it, but it hits us. I mean, it hits you right in the middle sometimes.
Right.
So if you find yourself thrust into a stressful situation, you can't just back away. What do you do?
Well, that's a very good point. The first thing that we do is, because we take a holistic approach, we have a young lady that's a behavioral consultant that's part of our practice, and she has expertise in helping patients through those periods. It has to be a decision-making situation some of the times, and other times it may be that they need medication on a temporary basis.
All right.
You see, so yeah, I mean, we don't completely rule out medication.
No.
We're saying that there's too much of it and we need to use it more judiciously rather than just overtly all the time for every issue. So if you come into us and you say, oh, you're having a lot of stress, we don't just write your prescription for Ativan or Xanax and, send you home. We send you to Lachelle, and then she'll do an evaluation and find out what's going on.
It's a
right,
balance.
exactly.
So wherever you are, we hope and pray that this has helped you. And it's something to think about for all of us, because we want to live good lives, and we want to live as long as we can, and we want to be well. That's one of God's blessings.
That's right.
Thank you very much.
Mr.
Good luck
Denny.
to you too, Alex. Take care. And wherever you are, put the cigarettes down and get out the fruits and vegetables. We'll see you next time.